I'm here with Jay Pepose. Jay, we're going to be talking about corneal intrastromal inlays for presbyopia. What are there's more than one type. What are the different types out there, and how do they work, and what is the type that you spoke about?
Exactly. I think this is an exciting new field, corneal inlays, and we are having studies now that are progressing through FDA submission. Right now there's 3 inlays that are being looked at. There's the camera inlay, which is made by a company called AccuFocus, which is a small aperture inlay. And then there's the raindrop inlay, which works by basically changing the shape of the cornea, creates in a sense a bifocal cornea, a sort of a bispheric modification of the central cornea.
It's like a little blip.
Exactly, exactly. And then the third one works by changing refractive index. So each one's working through a totally different optical principle. And we'll see which turns out to be the best, and maybe each one might be better for a select patient group.
Now, you spoke about camera with a K.
Correct.
Can you tell me what does it look like? I mean, if I were to see this in someone's eye, what am I going to see?
Well, the camera inlay is basically a black disc which has a central aperture, about 1.6 millimeters. It's very, very thin, about 5 microns thick. It has these micro perforations, which are in a pseudo-random pattern, and that allows nutrient flow. And the pseudo-random pattern is to obviate any glare or unwanted images. And so basically what it does is it blocks unfocused light. And so it expands your depth of field just like in a camera. If you alter the f-stop of a camera,
if you're stopping it down.
You stop it down, you get depth of field. So you're doing this by taking that blur circle at on the retina and just making it smaller. And that's how you get this increased depth of field.
So what is the diameter of the outside of the ring?
The outer diameter is 3.8 millimeters. So for most patients, it's going to be within their pupil. And even in a lightly colored iris, it's very hard to see. Hard to tell which eyes had an inlay.
Right. I mean, if you're looking from the outside, I mean, it's
right.
Black on black, in the sense that the pupil's black.
Right.
And the idea being that when we have constriction of the pupil, when we read that this thing is going to subtend more of the pupil, then act as a pinhole camera?
Exactly. As a pinhole camera is exactly the same principle. In fact, when you go to the supermarket and buy an inexpensive camera, not an autofocus, it has a pinhole in it. And that's why when you take an image of something at distance or near, they're both in focus.
Oh, it sounds cool. And would the patients have this put in both eyes, or is it monovision that you're and it's not really monovision, but I mean it's one sort of reading dominant eye? What are the plans?
The plan is to implant it monocularly, just in the non-dominant eye, and it seems to be optically best if the eye is slightly myopic, about minus 0.75 diopters is the best, and so it could be. If it reaches approval in the U.S., it could be done in conjunction or after LASIK. In other words, the eye could be modified to that amount. But it's not really monovision. In fact, in the study I just presented today, we showed that it differs from monovision in that we don't have that loss of stereopsis that we have in monovision.
Oh, good point.
There is a slight reduction of light, so we wouldn't want to implant it bilaterally. There's a little bit of a loss of contrast, but the patient still stays well within the normal range of contrast sensitivity, both most mesopic and photopic.
Can you take it out if the patient feels at some point that he doesn't like it?
Exactly. So it's implanted in a pocket. Pocket could be made with a femtosecond laser, and it's reversible.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. Jay, thank you very much for sharing this with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.